Hello and welcome to another tutorial on Sky River Sound. My name is James and today I will be showing you part 2 of how I would make sounds for the Harpies in Tauron Glyph's upcoming game Sheol. Sheol is in early access on Steam and I've had a lot of fun playing it so far, even this early in development, so I'm very excited to see how the game evolves from here with the new content updates. In part 1, I took some samples I made by recording some chickens and used pitch shifting and distortion to make them sound more sinister. Here in part 2, I'll walk you through my thought process as I decide how and when to add more layers and what to do with them, as well as how to fit everything together as a finished sound. I hope you'll enjoy. Alright. So I decided rather than adding in reverb and delay just yet, I wanted to get some more layers in. So I recorded myself just screeching like any normal person would do. And here's what I came up with. So I've got a whole bunch more layers to work with. I'm going to decide which ones I want to work with, what I want to do with them, and then I'll be back showing you what I've done. Okay, and we're back. So what I've done is I've arranged all of the different layers together, muted the different takes that we don't need, and gone ahead and done a little bit more pitch shifting. What I've also done is I printed on reverb and some doubling. Let me get to that track. Here we are. So I printed on some doubling first with Isotope's vocal doubler. And then I did some reverb with Oracle by Soundspot. Gave me a nice, lush, dark reverb that helped me to convince at least myself that I was hearing a creature in a haunted forest. So here we are with the effects that we've got on so far, which is pitch shifting, some distortion, some doubling, and some reverb. Okay, so you can see we're sounding much more convincing so far. I still need to play with the levels of each of the sound so that I can get a better balance and make it sound as one cohesive sound that the Harpy is making instead of several layers stacked together. But I hope that by now you can hear that we're getting much closer to the monster sound that we're aiming for, and it's no longer sounding like some silly chickens. So what I'm going to do next is, before looking at adding in other layers, I want to hear this in context with the other sounds that will be going on. Things like the sword swinging or the gore sounds as the player hits the Harpy. And want to see how it sounds in context with everything else that would be going on during gameplay. And it may turn out, and what I suspect is going to happen, is that the simple layer that sounds a little bit hollow right now, or the simple sound that right now sounds a little bit hollow and it's not filling up the frequency spectrum as much as we'd like when listening to it in solo. I think if we take it out of solo, put it back in context with everything that would be going on during gameplay, and suddenly it'll cut through the way it needs to, and it'll sound full. So I'm going to go ahead and record some gore sounds, and I'm going to get in the hit and impact sounds, everything else that we need to, so that I can get this heard in context of what all is going on. All right, now I've added in those other sounds, and I am glad that I didn't try adding in other layers earlier, because it is sounding full enough as it is. All that I've done is I've taken just one little spot down here, and just for this segment here, which I've printed up here, I added some reverb on it. Changed it from this to this. So the overall section there now sounds, as the Harpy dies, now sounds like this. And the other thing that I've done is I've added some echo to all of the squeals that I did earlier. Okay, so I've added on both of those squeal tracks, both for the Harpy attacking and for the Harpy getting hit. I added in this Echoplex from UAD and set it to the lowest possible delay time and didn't go wild with the repeats, and set it up to get a bit of saturation as well as a bit of extra warmth in the echo sound. And what we end up with after all of that is this. So obviously there's still some more work to do. I still need to put in the gore sounds and the sounds for that portal at the end. Make sure the levels and everything are balanced, more fine-tuned than they are right now. Maybe even go in with some EQ to help things stand out when they need to. But as you can hear now, we now have a Harpy monster sound, whereas we started with just chickens. And there we have it, how I would make sounds of the Harpies in Sheol using chickens and my own voice. Let me know what kinds of things you'd like to see in future tutorials. I'm releasing them every Monday now. Next week, I'll show you how I make lasers more interesting using Softtube Modular. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next week.